Hi, I'm Josanne Wright Callender, the author of the Happy Little Garbage Truck Picture Book. It's an educational program that's based on the picture book of the Happy Little Garbage Truck. Teaches literacy and social skills. And that's why I'm here today, because we've been talking about video modeling as a way to teach social skills. I've been using video modeling as a teacher over the 27 years that I've taught, probably the last 7 or 8. And at that time, I had a trusty camcorder that my classroom had been bequeathed by parents, and I put it to use immediately. We did videos of the children doing their plays, their musical recitals, and then I discovered video modeling because, all of my children, I taught children with autism, loved watching movies. And I said, they should really love seeing themselves do a good job. And that's kind of how I got into video modeling with my classroom. Well, I said, these are 6 tips for great video modeling. And I'll share some website research that I've done too. But first of all, it's the best way if you're a teacher to get permission from the parents first. And a lot of school districts have um, forms that you can get releases from the parents to use the images that you're creating for educational uses only. And that is exactly where I started because I didn't want anyone to feel uncomfortable with the videos that I was creating to help their children. So I've got permission. And then I started to look at social stories because that's kind of what I was doing visually. It's creating a visual social story. So first of all, tip number 1 is take a look at the child's needs. What do they need to develop? And you could do a social autopsy trying to find out what the problem area is, a la Rick Lavoie. Or you can find, just for me, I just looked at what area was my student struggling with that we wanted to try to give him another perspective of how to do it. Because children, sometimes they get caught in a loop and repeating things and, just behaviors that they found were successful for them, but not necessarily a successful strategy in a social environment, which is what social stories are all about. So we would find one area that we were going to focus on because I didn't want to just, it's sort of like making it too confusing to cover more than one topic at a time. So I talked my student through what we were looking for in some instances and had them make pretend using a peer model. Sometimes they were doing that activity like so and so. And so it was actually them doing the activity and me videotaping it done in a good way. And sometimes I just caught the student just caught them doing a good thing or doing that behavior in a good way. And I had my camera ready to go, loaded, and I would just videotape at that time. Now we have iPhones and Androids, and you have your camera with you all the time. It doesn't need to be staged or, this was like I had to have my camera next to me. Your phone is your camera. You try to capture the best of that was tip number 2. Number 3 is you capture the best imitation of the skill. So tip number 1, look for a skill that the child needs to be correcting. Number 2, talk the child through the action or catch them doing it in a really great way. Number 3, capture that image. And number 4 is when you get the image, sometimes there's too much information on the screen and you need to edit it down. And I, at the time, used iMovie because I had an iMac. And recently I found a video editing tool called VideoPad, and it's freeware for a period of time. And so I'm trying it out just now to see if it's something that I want to get into more as an editing facility. I loved iMovie because it was very simple and streamlined. And now It's not, it's sort of like a cost involved. I still have to look back and see where, how much that is. But I'm like everyone else trying to save money and do things in a more economical way. So we'll see how VideoPad works. Number 5 is I try to keep the video handy in a file so that I can get to it as soon as the child needs that intervention. So that's number 5. Create a file that's really easily identifiable that you can, have at the top of your queue, or just maybe make a special little icon for it on your phone. And number 6 actually is reward the child for doing a good job. And the video taping sometimes is a little stressful, so you should really, commend the child verbally. Maybe have their preferred activity ready for them. But after you've done this video, you are ready to use it. And I would always suggest to use the video prior to the activity, or time that behavior may be apparent or may come up, so you could walk the child through the appropriate behavior before that time, and they could have a successful day. So I'm going to include some links in my description box below. And the N2Y was one of the organizations that I worked with when I was teaching. That's a lot of really good. Uh, I'd say, well, it's mostly for language development, but this particular clip that I'm putting in my description box covers video modeling, and it covers a wide range, not only for elementary school age children, but also for teenagers, because the moderator, and I guess the presenter worked in a high school. So until tomorrow, I thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll talk then. Bye-bye.